Hello my beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl that Zotaku. We are here again, podcast edition. It's so great to see you, but you guys can't really see me because my face isn't up here. If you are new here, hi, welcome to the channel. Please consider subscribing. And if you are returning here, then you already know that over here on this little corner of the world, we wholeheartedly believe that animated characters are way better than actual human beings because look at the world that we live in today. It's not pretty, it's not cute. In today's video, we are going to talk about Space Jam 2, The Legacy, or A New Legacy, or whatever it is. The new Space Jam movie with LeBron James.
LeBron James.
And it's on HBO Max. And a lot of people, mainly people my age and older, have been having their own discussions online about, oh, is this a good movie? Is this a movie paying homage to the Looney Tunes? My main question is, what is with y'all and overanalyzing every kid's movie that comes out nowadays? I mean, except me, of course. I do it perfectly. But when it comes to any new piece of kids media, especially in the commentary, I guess you could say I'm part of the commentary world, but in the kids commentary for like animation, we tend to get into the habit of trying to find some philosophical underlying reason for every piece of media that exists. Like, oh, is this teaching a decent lesson to kids? Oh, this movie's terrible. It's not teaching a lesson like Avatar: The Last Airbender when I was a kid, or it's not philosophical like Steven Universe. It's not giving you lessons like Star vs. the Forces of Evil. And you forget that a lot of these shows are for kids and they don't need to teach some underlying lesson. Now, I understand that the common thing that we talk about is that kids deserve good media. They deserve good storylines. They deserve direction. They deserve a lot of things that come with entertainment, because just because it's for kids doesn't mean it has to be bad. But that doesn't mean every single piece of kids media has to be quote unquote good as well. Like, you can have a place for stupid movies. And I think that's where Space Jam, and in this case, Space Jam 2, filled that space. Space. I said space a lot.
Yeah, that's not funny.
If I'm giving you the basic premise of the movie, you have LeBron James. He gets kidnapped by this guy named Algae Rhythm, who's the algorithm in the serververse at Warner Brothers Studios, played by Don Cheadle. And he has to collect all the Looney Tunes characters around the serververse at Warner to play the ultimate game of basketball to save the world. Now that I realize that it has way higher stakes now compared to when Michael Jordan had to avoid signing autographs for alien children for the rest of his life, but I digress. In terms of Space Jam, it pretty much is a basic plot similar to the original movie. Nothing really has changed. And what made Space Jam, the original movie, so special was that it was dumb. It was supposed to be dumb. Like, this movie is not smart, it's not great, and it's not supposed to be. The original movie was dumb, not great, but it is a cult classic. We love the cartooniness, we love the ridiculousness, we love the stupidness, we love the otherness of it all. And we don't have to think about it. We don't have to think that hard. A lot of times with cartoons and animations, we get into the habit of looking at the bigger meaning, like I said, looking for some lesson, needing to get to be smart and all that stuff. But I know full-grown adults who love Sharknado enough for it to make 6 movies of it, and it's about a fucking shark tornado. Like, you can have stupid media. Stupid media deserves its place too. Not everything needs to be smart and have some bigger lesson. In terms of the points of criticism that I keep seeing when it comes to discussing Space Jam 2, I'm just going to ramble off a bunch of points that people have said and give my commentary back. So the one thing that I keep seeing is LeBron can't act and the plot doesn't make any sense. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Of course LeBron can't act.
Please don't dab.
Oh, what'd you just say? Did you just say, please dab?
No, I said please.
Dab.
Michael Jordan couldn't act either.
Oh, look out for that toy step, Doc. It's a real Lulu.
Bugs Bunny?
You were expecting maybe the Easter Bunny?
You're a cartoon, you're not real.
Not really. If I weren't real, could I do this?
Why? Because they're not actors. They're athletes. They're not supposed to act. And that's part of what we loved about Space Jam, the original. Like, when we were kids seeing Space Jam, we liked seeing the fact that, oh, Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes are playing basketball. Like, what are the odds that these two entities that had nothing to do with each other would somehow come together in an amazing crossover, and it would be entertaining as hell to watch? And that nostalgia has carried us through into today, enough for us to make a second movie. And they're just doing that again. You have LeBron James, who is this generation's Michael Jordan in terms of the greatest basketball player of all time. And you have him playing with the Looney Tunes that we've seen for countless generations, almost 100 years at this point. And it's just a callback to the silliness of the original movie. And I don't think that's a bad thing. The next criticism that I keep seeing is that people are saying that this movie was just a big commercial for all the Warner Brother properties. And I thought it was kind of cool seeing Game of Thrones, The Iron Giant, King Kong, the old Hanna-Barbera projects and properties, and even that little bit where you saw the Looney Tunes in the DC comics. It was honestly some of my favorite parts of the movie. Like, again, you have this whole part of the movie where LeBron and Bugs are going around the whole serververse, all interacting with all different types of Warner Brother properties, trying to get together all the Looney Tunes characters while they're spread out. And a lot of people said that it was a commercial, but I thought it was very nice seeing how many properties are in the Warner Brothers genre. Like, you forget that Casablanca, you forget about the DC comics, you forget about so many different old cartoons and properties and movies that are all part of one big family. And yes, it was kind of cheesy seeing those Looney Tunes characters be in those properties and just reenact those same, things. Like, for instance, having little old Granny do that whole move from The Matrix was kind of cringy, but I forget that so many properties are in Warner's, because you never really remember Warner's in terms of the properties that they do own. Like Disney, we can all recognize a Disney property quickly. We can recognize it so easily because it's so, profound and ingrained in our culture. But Warner Brothers, at least for me, sometimes I forget what they have done in the past. And even though they've kind of been on a downward spiral in terms of like the greatness of their movies, it's nice being able to walk down memory lane a little bit and see the greatness that they have done and the amount of impact they have had on entertainment as a whole. And I think that's what this movie partially did. In terms of the next criticism, people have said, oh, the Looney Tunes were not paid homage to. Like, people were not respecting or better yet, the animators were not respecting the original Looney Tunes show. And I think that's kind of a bullshit argument, because Space Jam was not paying homage to the original Looney Tunes. The original Space Jam was meant to be Michael Jordan plus Looney Tune characters playing basketball. That was it. And then it developed into a cult classic. I don't even think it intended to be a cult classic. I think it intended to be just a stupid movie to sell merchandise. And then it became its own entity when you have all these kids who watched it when they were younger, grow up to adults and still remember how they felt watching Space Jam for the first time. So I think because of that longevity it has had in our pop culture, it doesn't need to be, in a way, Space Jam, the original, has served this place as being its own thing that people can pay homage to. And I think that's what Space Jam 2 did. And what I'm trying to say is Space Jam 2 was not paying homage to the original Looney Tunes. It was paying homage to the original Space Jam, because the original Space Jam has earned its place in pop culture, in history, and in our childhoods with how dumb it was. In a way, that's what made it special. So this movie was calling back to it. And if you really do need to have, someone pay homage to the original Looney Tunes, which I understand. The original Looney Tunes literally was like the forefathers of animation, and without it, we wouldn't have so many great properties today. But other properties have recognized Looney Tunes' greatness and have paid homage to it already, that it's okay if we don't have any more. Like, you can check out some episodes from Teen Titans, Tom and Jerry, even anime like Gurren Lagann have paid respect to certain gags from the original Looney Tunes series. That isn't really the worst case in the world that this movie, Space Jam 2, and the original Space Jam have Looney Tunes characters and they're not quote-unquote paying homage to the original movie. Is it really that bad? We've done it already. In fact, if you want to see even more, they have remade the original Looney Tunes show so many times, and the newest rendition of it, the Looney Tunes show now, is even better than some of the original cartoons from what people have said. So if you need someone to pay homage to it, why not just watch those? Like, not every piece of media referencing old cartoons has to be a perfect homage to its greatness and all that stuff. It's not necessary. At the end of the day, cartoons are cartoons, and they can be smart and they can be stupid. They can be whatever they need to be at that moment. It's just its own property. And I think the movie isn't trying to take itself too seriously with the plot either. It's a plot that doesn't make sense. Who is this algorithm? Why are they in the serververse? What is going on? A lot is happening. You have that little side story with, like, you know, about family, where LeBron James is talking to his son and, you know, trying to focus on family and less on basketball and whatever. You have that little B plot because you need to have a lesson for the feels. But in terms of the plot, again, it is dumb. It's supposed to be dumb. And the last thing a lot of people have said is mainly that Lola isn't hot right now. When they first came out with the character drawings for what Lola was going to be in this movie, and how we all remember Lola, who honestly was one of my crushes. I mean, them thighs though.
Don't ever call me doll.
Let's talk. But when people were so freaking out over, oh, Lola isn't hot anymore, they took away her boobs, I'm like, Lola's a bunny. Lola's a bunny. She's a female character that's supposed to be the romantic interest for Bugs / the female foil to most of these male-dominated characters. Is it really that serious? Like, if you need Lola to be hot, just go ahead and look up a bunch of fan art online. Trust me, you'll find plenty of different imaginative forms of Lola Bunny all online if you need her to be hot that badly. Look up cosplay, make your own cosplay if you need it to be that way. Like, if you really need your furry kick, go do that. No shade to furries. I don't kink shame here, but that whole Lola thing was hella weird. But in general, those were some of the thoughts that I had about Space Jam. I think the movie was fine for what it was. I think a lot of the discourse that's been happening online ever since the movie came out was just kind of coming from a place of genuine critique. I mean, I'm not saying the movie's perfect. Of course, it has its flaws. But I also want people to recognize that just because it has its flaws doesn't mean it needs to not have its place on HBO Max or wherever the hell it is, and people shouldn't watch it, or people should also critique it and say it's bad, it's this and that and the third. It served its purpose for what it needed to be. Pay homage to the original Space Jam. Be a dumb movie. Be a movie that you don't have to think about. Those belong to exist in these discussions and in these spaces as well. Not every piece of media has to be super great and super fulfilling and super smart in order to be considered a good comedy. And I'm not saying this is good, I'm just saying it served its purpose and let it be. If you watch the movie, great. If you don't, fine. You'll be alright. So that's all I have to say for this. Please let me know in the comments below if you watched the movie, what your thoughts are on this. And let me know if you have any other movies that you would want me to continue to review. If you have any thoughts on, like, how I'm doing, do I suck? Please do let me know. And I'll get back to you with another one, okay? Bye!